Now, it seems that all the dialogue with the European Union is about them telling us what we should do, one accusation after the other. If that is the dialogue, it ends today. That's not a dialogue. We will not be lectured. After all, what are they going to give us? They're going to give us oxygen, or they're going to prolong our lives. It's only God who can give you only God decides how you live, not the European Union. As a sovereign state, this country's laws will not be amended because the European Union wanted, because we are not a colony of either the European Union or any other international body. So, I looked at a minute that was sent to me yesterday. And I will read the minute to you. Your Excellency, Vice Secretary General. Sir, on behalf of the office, I attended the preparatory meeting of relevant sectors of government of the Gambia and GOTG, that's Government of the Gambia, EU, Article 8 Political Dialogue on Friday, 4th January, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Your Excellency, the issues raised by the EU for discussion during the dialogue, slated for the 11th of January 2013, are as follows. 1. Commitment of GOTG to allow the free operation of independent media in the Gambia. Commitment to who? How many radio stations do we have even at community level? And it's the government of the Gambia that is suing licenses. Before 1994, there were only 2 private radio stations, Radio Seed and Radio 1 FM. In fact, Radio 1 FM came in the latter part of the 90s. Today, how many radio stations do we have? And pre-1994, I could remember of only 2 newspapers, 3, I think. The Point, The Observer, and The Nation. And then the one by government, that was not anyway an independent newspaper. Today, how many newspapers do we have in this country? To the extent that even foreigners have their own newspapers. So what commitment do the European Union want from us? And what type of allowance are they talking about for the free operation of independent media in the Gambia? And what do they mean by independent media? In most countries in Europe, if you deny the Holocaust, you go to jail. They made it a criminal offense. But if you deny slavery, they clap for you. No newspaper in Europe can publish 2 articles consecutively on the Holocaust without the editor being arrested. Why are they doing that? No newspaper in Europe also will write articles supporting the jihad and the editor is not put in jail. Why? Because they think that's a threat to their national security. But here we are not saying, there's no law that says you cannot say this or that. The law says you'll be accountable and be responsible for what you say. If what you say offends somebody, you can take it to a court of law. That is what a civilized society is all about. So whatever they are alluding to with regards to allow free operation of the independent media, that is unacceptable. It's not even up for discussion. Nobody would tell us what laws we should have in this country. Then, 2, removal of restrictive barriers, monetary/regulatory. And in fact, they are giving us a deadline. Nobody gives me deadlines. For the first item, within 1 month, Gambia government's commitment to the free operation of independent media in the Gambia. What do they want the media to publish? That is not being published now. Maybe they will clarify what they mean by free operation of independent media. Some of the media houses don't even pay taxes regularly. We've never harassed them. So how is it possible that the media is not free? Well, that item on the agenda needs clarification and also is unacceptable. We're not going to change our laws for the interest of anybody. They can deal with us the way we are or let them go to where they want to go to. But this country will not be colonized. And then giving us a deadline of 1 month. Secondly, removal of restrictive barriers, monetary and /regulatory to registration and licensing of the media. So all what they are interested in is the media's freedom or whatever. The media is already free. Why do they charge Africans visas to go to Europe? When they were coming here, nobody asked, they didn't pay a dime to come to Africa and colonize us. In addition to the visa fee, you also pay insurance for you to have an air ticket. For you to have a visa, you must show evidence that you can pay for the insurance. So now, even to go to their countries, an African has to be insured in addition to paying for the visa. And they're telling us that we should remove barriers. There are no barriers. After all, the newspapers are not oxygen. Business people pay licenses, so why shouldn't media houses pay? Because after all, it's a commercial venture. So this is also unacceptable. And they are giving us 6 months to do that. Nobody gives me deadline. It will never happen in 6 billion years. 3, removal of restrictions on accessing and sharing information electronically. Why are they closing Al-Qaeda websites and even websites that are not even affiliated to Al-Qaeda, but they are Islamic websites that tell Muslims what their roles and responsibilities are, telling them the reality of what they do? Why is WikiLeaks being held hostage in a foreign embassy that has granted him asylum? And they want us not to protect the sovereignty and the stability of this country. For chicken change, they have made a big mistake. So that is also not for discussion. Four, revision of the provisions in the criminal code that allow for prosecution on the charges of sedition, libel, false publication, or false information to a public servant. In any civilized country of human beings created by the Almighty Allah, there are rules and regulations that govern how we relate to each other. And in the Gambia, we are not from evolution. We are created by the Almighty Allah, and there's a hierarchy. We are Africans first, and Gambians in particular, and Muslims and Christians that fear and worship only one Almighty Allah. and our culture. Where they fail in colonialism to kill our culture, if they think that they can now turn around, dangle a few euros, and allow us to kill our culture, we are not going to accept that. There's a criminal. The criminal code of this country. Who are there to tell us about our criminal code? So, that is also unacceptable. Every civilized society has laws to govern what you say about other people and what other people should say about you. All that is geared towards having a civilized, respectful, and God-fearing society, where you allow people to say whatever they want to say, and they will not even allow, you will be arrested if you deny the Holocaust. I don't know then what they are talking about with regards to our criminal code provisions on that. So that is not even for discussion. Then 5, I think, revision of laws on freedom of expression and media regulation. If you have to review, if they are talking about the word review, my position is very clear. All this can be reviewed with more stringent laws and nothing else. If they think that we can allow this country to be destroyed because of their chicken chain, they are making a grave mistake. But some of you also work with them. But I'm telling you, give you notice, because there is no room for the 2 of us or 3 of us here in this country. Now, revision of the provisions of the criminal code that allow for prosecution on charges of sedition. Sedition is a criminal offense anywhere, anyway. Libel, false publication, or false information to a public servant. In the countries also, people, you can be sued for writing things. Already they have censorship that is unprecedented. And they want us to not to have any laws that regulate what you say. What we are talking about here is, what we have put in our laws is responsibility. Okay, for removal of restrictions on accessing and sharing information electronically, they are giving us 1 month deadline. Revision of these provisions I'm talking about regarding to libel, sedition, and false publication of false information to a public servant, they are giving us 6 months. Revision of laws on freedom of expression and media regulation, they are telling us to do that within 24 months. Upholding of moratorium on death penalty, immediate. Let me make it very clear if they didn't get me before. The moratorium was based on the appeals of the Gambian people. And it will be on as long as Gambians want the moratorium to be in place. And nobody else. I'm a servant of the Gambian people. The laws of the Almighty Allah to the letter, come rain or sunshine. Then, Article 7 is provision of information regarding the recent executions and including location of burial to families. You see how offensive they can be. And that is 1 month. If they want to know those who are executed where they are buried, let them commit capital offenses and they are sentenced to death. When they are executed, they will know where they are going to be buried. Then if they want to know the location, let them go and do so. They care about the families. What about the families of those who have been murdered? You see their hypocrisy. And in fact, who are they to tell us about what we should do? We made it very clear, we carried out the execution based on the laws of this country. But if they want to know where these people have been buried, Let them commit capital offenses in this country and they are sentenced to death and see what is. Then they will know where the location. And then they can call their families and say, here I am buried for killing somebody. And that is, they are giving us 1 month. 8. Review of the death penalty by the National Assembly within 12 months. As I said, it will be there as long as we worship one God under Islam. Then, 9. Review of the death penalty by the National Assembly and to propose to introduce a de jure moratorium. I can do that on one condition. Africans will not require visa to go to Europe, and no African would be deported from Europe. Also, when they allow Muslims to worship freely,